Yeah, well, I think you might have to do that because like,
how you know I take
you
it?
know, like I'll admit, certain porns I've seen, like you can see like the dude's fucking asshole's like bare white. You're like, I know my asshole ain't that bare white and like hairless. So they must either like strip it, something terrible like that.
Shave your asshole. That is why they figured out how to fucking
hair
bleach your
like
asshole.
stink really bad or whatever. That like chemical that melts the hair away. I've heard that's like really painful.
I'm pretty sure that bleaching your asshole doesn't feel great, but I have no idea. But they figured out bleaching assholes because you can't use a fucking razor on your fucking asshole.
Well, of course.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hard Reset, a Cold North production. Jesus Christ. I'm your host, the Lawnmowers. Joining me as usual are your two favorite guys, gorgeous Ben Reynolds.
Meow.
The ever effervescent Andrew Etchen.
Hello.
Oh God.
We will come back to this later.
We'll get back to that later. When we're done. You're listening to number 71, the one where we talk about micro consoles.
If Sharper Image just made fucking like asshole trimmers and like they make nose hair trimmers.
But that would mean the thing would have to trim inside your asshole, which wouldn't be effective. There's no.
That's
hair.
what a nose hair trimmer
you
does.
You need those hairs. Those are specific hairs. The hairs on the outside are just, unbecoming.
Does Sharper Image make the things that they sell, though?
I don't know.
I mean, for God's
like
sakes, all you'd really have to do, you got one of those like buzzers with the little hair like length things. You just got to put one of those little hair length things on so you don't accidentally scratch yourself and just fucking like shave all that shit off.
I feel like bleaching
I'm
has
not
to
saying
do
I've actually
more.
done that, but I had, I'll admit I man trim a touch.
I feel like they. I feel like they have to do more.
How do you man trim around your own asshole?
No, okay. It has to do more than just remove the hair. Because there's already stuff that, like, why not wax?
Because you pour hot wax in your fucking asshole? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be unbelievably painful.
And yet bleach. That's totally cool with Ben.
Well, I don't think it's cool. I haven't done it, but I would not pour hot wax in my ass.
Yeah, I have no idea how the fuck that actually works.
Okay. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify.
Imagine being the person who has to do that for people.
That's so gross. How do you
What do you do for a living? Oh, I bleach assholes.
You're like, do you bleach like people that are jerks? Or you're like, no, I literally
You're like a hairstylist, and you're like, no.
A little different than that. Different kind of hairstyle.
Different kind of asshole. Not bleaching tips here, baby.
Oh my God. All right. We've got a lot to get to this week. First, we're going to start with a correction from last week. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, I actually incorrectly said that Hitman Contracts was Hitman 3, when really what it was a conglomeration of a remake conglomeration of the best levels of Hitman 1.
You also said that Hitman 2016 comes with Hitman 2 automatically, and you have to pay extra to get those levels.
If you have Hitman 2016 already.
So I
have it, but it keeps telling me that I have to pay more.
No, but there's like instructions for how to cash it in Hitman 2016. You have to re-download Hitman 2016.
Again? Why? That's fucking annoying.
That's how you validate it.
That's stupid. It's already on my fucking PlayStation. How can they not just match?
For all you audio listeners, which is everyone, Ben is smashing his hands together,
saying they can match.
Why can't they just do it?
Why don't they fit together?
All right. And I also said that Hitman Blood Money was Hitman 4. Hitman Blood Money was actually Hitman 3. But we're going to kick off with what we've been playing this week. Ben, tell me what you've been playing this week.
I will just lay it down. be honest and just say all I have played is fucking Red Dead. More.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you haven't played anything? And I was going to say, pulling a Zach, eh?
No, I can't not play video games.
Shade.
I mean, actually,
himself.
I will not lie. I played Overwatch 2, obviously.
But
yeah, no, I played more Red Dead. It's still fucking great. I just find new ways to just draw pleasure from it each time. I'm getting better at being able to just like pick it up for a short period of time and put it down. Because for a long time that would just frustrate me, but now I'm like, okay, I could just pick it up and go kill some animal and then put it down, and I'm like, oh, that was fun.
Kill an animal.
It's just literally doing anything. Like hunting is even really fucking fun in that game.
Yeah, I've been trying to do those challenges because I think once you do 9 of the hunter challenges, you can hunt the panther. I want to do that.
Yeah, as soon as I started unlocking as soon as the challenges became an option, I just started doing them because I know that from playing the first game that doing the challenges makes your character better. So I was like, well, obviously I need to start doing these challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took me a little while to start doing this.
That's fair. You didn't play the first game, right?
I did not, but I am still playing the second one.
Thank you, Ben.
Which the third, but
I've actually come around to the idea that Red Dead Revolver is actually not even a part of the canon, and Redemption is kind of just a retry. They were like, let's try again.
Laid out for you why that happened. It's because it was Rockstar finishing a game that had already been started, and so they didn't feel they needed to hold on to that story.
It was the same developer, but Rockstar was publishing, and Rockstar was letting the developer do more of what they wanted, whereas when Capcom was publishing Revolver, Capcom was wanting it to be really like cartoonish and out there. But like when Rockstar took over the publishing, they were like, no, you guys can make what you want. But they were so far along already that what they wound up making was Revolver, which is a great game. I love Red Dead Revolver.
I would say that like the one thing that's different between, or like the thing that's the most different between Revolver and both of the Redemptions is that Revolver is literally beat for beat the story of the outlaw Josie Wales. Yeah. Whereas both of the Revolver stories are their own like independent stories, like that someone has clearly spent a shitload of time thinking about.
I've come around to the idea that Redemption is not Revolver doesn't exist in the same universe as Redemption, and that Redemption is just like they were just like, all right, well, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna try again and make the game we actually want to make.
Yeah,
and it made a much better one. Much more popular one.
Yes.
I mean, Revolver was pretty popular when it came out. It came out in like fucking 2004.
Yeah. It came out at a weird time and it was fairly popular. I actually I know that I'm in an extreme minority here, but I prefer Revolver to either of the Redemptions.
You're a weird person.
It's just it's very arcadey and it's just like cool. But,
well, yeah, I mean, you do just like there's a set path that you have to follow.
Yeah, there's literally levels.
Yeah,
yeah. I am nostalgic for those types of games. You're like, it's straightforward. It's a gauntlet. Make it through the gauntlet.
Now that I think about it, though, actually, like Red Dead Revolver feels a lot like a game that would be at home on the Dreamcast, where it's like kind of trying to evolve the concept of arcade games and still keep them as arcade games and put them in your home, which was basically the entire goal of the Dreamcast, which is why the Dreamcast failed so miserably.
We already talked about that last week.
Yeah, we've talked about that. All right, Andrew, what have you been playing?
I actually, surprisingly, have sort of dropped Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm going to go back to it, obviously. I'm like right now at the very beginning of the free roaming portion of the epilogue, so we're right near the end there. But I stopped playing that for a while, and I've been playing a ton of Divinity 2, the definitive edition. and I love it. Like, I played the first one, and I really liked the first one because the first one also felt the most like a virtual visual version of Dungeons and Dragons I had ever played, but it was not very creative in its armors and stuff like that and characters. And so, but the story and the dialogue and backgrounds, all that was beautifully written and voiced. But the second one is like all the characters feel very unique, and they have really interesting backstories, and they have really creative armors, and all the different races have different armors, and it's very, very fun compared to the first one, and it feels like a mix of Dragon Age Origins and Dungeons and Dragons, and I have been sucked into that, and I'm honestly not really sure how far into it I am. I want to say maybe like a third, possibly halfway through the game.
Well, I've heard it's absolutely much better than the first. And
it takes everything it takes everything that the first one like had, and it made all of the graphics and like effects for all the spells really like interesting and cool, where the first one was just like poof 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 of like a few simple things, and nothing different would happen very often. And then it like stepped up a lot of the creativity.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Whatever happened with Neverwinter Nights and those games? Because those were like the best actual fucking
MMOs.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons. No, I never played one that was an MMO. They were just like RPGs that were based in the Dungeons and Dragons world, basically.
Oh, I never played those. I played Neverwinter, the Dungeons and Dragons like free MMO online for like a hot minute.
Huh. Yeah, I thought like you were just saying that you thought that was like the best live action or like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, and Neverwinter. I played that when I was a fucking like
those were
schooler probably. Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of like whatever happened to that.
Well, something that's interesting
because I thought those games were good then, but
is Neverwinter's not voiced or anything, is it?
I don't know for sure. I mean, it was a long time ago that I played it.
Yeah, it's an old game, so I wouldn't be I would be surprised if it had a lot of voice acting.
Edition on Steam.
But
Neverwinter Online still exists.
Oh,
so
they have Neverwinter Online.
It was BioWare, of course. It was BioWare, so of course it was a great RPG.
But one of the things that makes Divinity really cool is every single line of the game, every single dialogue line is completely voice acted and unique. Like, I haven't really heard a same voice in any character throughout any point of the game. And they even stuff like you'll be walking around and random characters will just be like shouting things at each other, and you can walk up and talk to them and they'll have like one sentence to say, but every single little line in the game is voice acted, and really, really voice acted well. And it creates a great atmosphere to the games. You'll encounter some, scary boss, and all of a sudden like everything gets very like dark, and the way they talk is like very, intense and primordial. And you're just like, all right, time to dance. Like, yeah, D&D style, bitch.
That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to download that.
It's also turn-based. Like, it's turn-based and almost kind of like it's like Dragon Age Origins, and like that you can, you're turn-based kind of, but it's more like XCOM in the other sense, where you can like move everyone around and you use your environment to your advantage. But you can move your characters to anywhere in the environment. So it's like, oh my god, there's an archer. Like, I'm just gonna stand behind this tree that I'm near, and like then he can't get me. I'll like force him to come closer. Yeah. And like, so it feels very much like that's what I love XCOM too. So that's what makes Divinity really fun, because it feels very much like someone telling a Dungeons and Dragons story. And there's even like a narrator who talks through many parts and describes like, so and so has like, it looks at you from across the room like blah 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 blah. And it's it's very interesting. If you like high fantasy stuff and turn-based games, I would give it a try. And I would highly recommend I think it's the Explorer mode. It's like the most standard. Like the game will still be difficult, but it won't be like impossible.
All right. The XCOM stuff you sold me. I'll download it, give it a try.
Read the article I just sent you guys in the admin chat too.
We shall read it later.
So, yeah. So I personally played. I've played a lot of different things. I finished up Spyro 1. I played through Halo 1 with Tim. But the one I want to talk about this week is I actually started Golf Story, which is this like, it's weird, but it's really cool. And like, I was kind of getting this itch for like, okay, I want to play my Switch because I hadn't played my Switch in a really long time. And I was like, I was wanting kind of a retro style game, and I couldn't figure out, like, I couldn't find one that I was really like into the idea of. And I was thinking, oh, Blossom Tales, but I don't like the art in Blossom Tales.
I have Blossom Tales. It's fine. It's like a really...
It's fine.
It's like a really... It feels like the baby version of Zelda. Like, it's way too easy.
Yeah, I just didn't like the art. Like, the art style, the 16-bit style.
4D.
Oh, Andrew, you cut out there. But
Oh, I did?
I just didn't like the art. The art style was like... It was just... I don't know. I like the 16-bit style, but it's just not... Like... I didn't like the sprites. It just looks like they didn't put enough detail into it. Whereas...
Have you played Cave Story?
Cave Story, I have not. But
Cave Story is cool, too. That's like a Metroidvania type game.
But I wound up getting Golf Story. And it's like... It's very weird to say, but it's a golf RPG. It's just like a role-playing game where you just play golf. And like, it's this 16-bit like art style, top-down.
GPG.
And, yeah, you just play as this... GPG, yeah. You play as this this guy, and you start as like a little kid, and you're like dreaming of being a pro golfer one day. And then you play as this guy, and like... I'm not very far into the game yet, but like 20 years later, the kid has grown up and he starts golfing again, and he picks it back up. And like, I'm pretty sure he's talking to his ex-wife, and she's like mocking him for picking up golf again. And he's like, no, this is my dream. This is like really what I want to do. And it's just this very weird game where...
Sounds kind of depressing.
It's a little bit, yeah. Like,
and then you have to like defeat your inner demons with golf power.
It's sort of a little bit like, no, not inner demons, but you do end up doing a lot of weird shit with golf.
Does your wife break your taillight on your Escalade with your golf club when it's found out that you've cheated on her with like hundreds of different women?
This sounds like
including like
reference.
Waitresses.
Tiger Woods,
What?
Got it.
Oh.
But no, it's like, I enjoy golf games. I think golf games are fun, and this sort of adds more to it, and I'm really enjoying it. So it's a cool game.
16-bit though, Matt.
I dig it. I like.
Oh yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I like going. That's why that was one of the reasons I wanted to download Owlboy back in the day.
Oh, God, Owlboy,
because
so
like
good.
the pixel stuff, I love that sort of sprite work. Like,
Owlboy
really well done
is
sprite
one
work.
of the best, or one of the most beautiful video games I've ever seen. But we do have to move on. We got news in 5, but it's going to be more than 5 this week.
5.
Oh, Ben's already tapping the watch. All right. Sony announced that they will not be making an appearance at E3 2019. That's...
PlayStation conference.
Do you think that this is going to indicate like PS5 news?
No, just PlayStation conference.
PSX?
Huh.
New one. bigger,
PSX.
better.
They canceled PSX this year, so that's
don't
like,
skip. We have to go to the PS4, the PS5. I mean,
well, no. PSX is
No,
the
dude, we're going
PlayStation
to
Experience.
PS8.
It's their their own conference that they do in December.
oh,
They canceled it this year, and
Because they're going to create a new thing that's better than PSX.
and that
why wouldn't
is
they just make PSX better?
Because you've got to make it a new thing that's even better.
Okay,
evolution is necessary to become great.
And it'll be called PlayStation World, and it will be all of us.
okay. Serious question though.
All of us
Do you
will
guys
have
think we're gonna
cokes
get
in
any?
hand.
Do you guys think that we're gonna get any PS5 news next year
No.
in lieu of their E3 appearance?
No.
Is this the turning of the tide? Is Sony starting to show too much hubris as far as like they've clearly won this generation?
Did Microsoft ever pull out of E3?
Microsoft
When
never
they
pulled out
were-
of E3, but they
when
did
they were winning
stupid
on the
shit when they
360?
won. They did really stupid shit when they won the 360.
I think this is just I don't think this is I think it's just
Just
yeah,
com- company espionage.
yeah, we'll see what happens, but I don't think it's that big a news. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of big news, but I think life will continue as normal.
All right, and then Microsoft very cheekily
Normal will
announced
continue as life.
they announced that they will be at E3 2019, and just really reminded me of that 70s show when Hyde is living with the Foremans and Lori and Eric are like, as soon as I'm 18, I'm gone. And then Hyde is just like, I got nowhere to go, so just gonna stay here if that's all right. And like that's just it reminds me like that's what Microsoft is doing. They're just like, we kind of just
So there's this
to
car,
E3.
right? And it runs on water.
All right, now rumors are coming forward about the new Xbox, but not the Scarlet. Supposedly a new Xbox One
The X socks
will be coming,
pair of green
and it
socks.
will not have an optical drive. Rumor is it's not going to have an optical drive to cut costs. It's going to be like $199 or cheaper. It's going to be all digital, and supposedly they're also going to be even having like a program running where you can take your discs to a Microsoft retailer and
they'll make
trade it
digital.
in, and they'll give you a digital code for that product.
I mean, I'd be into it if they will also take my Xbox with an optical drive and give me a smaller Xbox, because this thing is fucking gigantic.
Yes, your Xbox One. Ben is still repping the original Xbox One, and that thing is ridiculously big. The Xbox One S and the One X are really small, though. They're really slim, sleek little consoles.
Well, do they have the HDMI out?
Yes, they
And
do,
in?
which is
In and
very
out?
weird.
We use it.
Oh, for what?
TV. Sports,
TV.
really.
TV. You're the only people that are using it for what they wanted. I think you're the only people that are using it.
Well, like they took away all of the features that they had developed for it. In one of the operating systems that they released, they just casually got rid of all of those features that they had for it.
Yeah, so now they've kind of got this worthless port on the back of the Xbox, and they keep putting it on there. Don't know why.
We just use it so that we don't have to like unplug and plug things.
Oh, you don't?
Because there's only a limited amount of, because like we've got an Apple TV in one slot, an Xbox in one slot, Switch in one slot.
All right, this is riveting, but we're gonna move on.
I love hearing how wealthy you are.
Ben's just showing off how rich he is. But no, I think that this is really cool, and I think that it kind of lends some credence to the idea that the Scarlet, there will be an all digital version of the Scarlet, and I also think that it's Microsoft embracing an all digital future the same way that Steam did. So I think that this is a really big deal. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. And the death of Telltale Games continues.
They're suffering.
Well, Telltale Games is Back to the Future has been delisted on the Xbox 360 store. Now, this is inevitably going to continue to happen to all of their games.
It's too bad.
If you want these Telltale games, grab them while you can. I personally don't care, but it's just a very interesting story about how this game developer just crashed and burned overnight.
Yeah. It's like and I still have so many of their games. You know, I actually still want to play, what's it called? I wanted to play the Game of Thrones one.
Well, you better keep it on your console if you want to play it.
Better buy it now if you want to buy it. And
I already have it. I guess I'd have to download it. Get it all ready.
Download it and get it there.
Well, because aren't they? I read something that said that they were even going to like pull them from the store, which would mean that you wouldn't be able to download them. Anymore.
Back to the Future has already been pulled from the Xbox 360 store.
But so does that mean that you can't download it anymore, even if you have it? You have the right. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Andrew, you should probably download all of them if you ever have interest in playing them again.
The flood is happening. It's all happening again.
That is my biggest problem with digital. Is one day it can just disappear, and it will. Not can. One day it will just disappear, and like these are things that I like treasure. So I want to be able to put them on a shelf and nobody can take them away from me except a flood.
Luckily, I don't care that much.
Or a thief.
Or a thief. Yeah. So, and last but not least, headset manufacturer Astro has announced that a new modular PlayStation 4 controller called the Astro C40TR. Terrible name. But what's interesting is it's modular, so you can take off the faceplate, and like they have the D-pad in one module and the joysticks in their own modules, and the buttons in a module, and so you can like move it around, so you can do offset sticks. You can like arrange it however you want. It's pretty neat, but it's a hideous controller. I think it has buttons on the back, no paddles. It has two buttons. Enough. I prefer 4 paddles, but it's got 2 buttons. Andrew, what are you laughing at?
Videos.
Oh,
cool shit. People getting tossed and shit.
All right. Well, I'm glad that's what you're doing right now. Now it's time for
You're the one that's distracting.
Topic of the show.
Topic
of the show.
The topic of the show.
It's the topic of the show.
I like how you two start so radically differently, then you start to kind of meld, like mix your styles, and you end up singing a pretty cohesive song by the end of it every time.
Oh, you know.
It's called jamming.
It's jamming, dude.
We jam man. We can vibe even through the internet.
Vocal jamming.
Vocal jamming. So we're going to be talking about micro consoles this week, specifically when it comes to gaming. But micro consoles? That was a fad.
Yeah, they suck.
I think
they're good if you have kids.
Well, you just fucking talked about one, so.
Yeah.
And how we just made a big deal about how one is going to be kind of cool, so...
Nope.
Wait, which one?
Take it all back.
Basically, the new Xbox would kind of sort of more or less be a micro console.
I wouldn't call that a micro console.
$199.
That's a tough
no optical drive. You're
kind of describing a micro console right now. Wow. That's really interesting. So if the Xbox One whatever comes out at $150, that's a no-brainer. Like, that's amazing. Because
it's a micro console.
It is. It's a micro console that plays full-blown console games.
That would be interesting.
Look at the micro consoles that like we've had. So the Ouya 2013 was garbage.
Ooh, yeah.
Sony released the PlayStation Vita TV in late 2013, and then followed up.
That was one of the 5 people in North America to buy one.
No. They
your sister bought it for you.
No, I actually never bought a PlayStation Vita TV. I don't even own one. I would
You
love
bought
to own
PSTV.
That's right. It was rebranded as the PSTV and released in North America in 2014. I have a lot to say about the PSTV. We'll get back to that.
Because you were one of the 5 people in North America to buy one.
So, I mean, you're kind of pot calling the kettle black here because you bought a PS Vita, so...
I bought 2.
Excuse me. I bought 2. Yeah, so thanks, Ben. Fuck you. But then also in 2015, in May of 2015, NVIDIA dropped the set-top box version of the NVIDIA Shield. And in October of 2015, Apple released the Apple TV 4, which was the first Apple TV to run tvOS, which has an app store and some games.
But I don't know if anybody uses it for that.
I think some people do.
They do
a
sell a
crap
controller
store and
for
some
it.
lames.
They do sell a controller for it.
They sell a couple of them.
Well, but I think there's even one that's Apple branded, but it's literally like it's some other controller with like an Apple. I can't remember what it is, but I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh, this is just clearly some other controller rebranded."
This does not look like an Apple product.
It's not white with silver buttons.
Yeah, exactly. So Ben, you own an Apple TV. You mentioned it earlier when you were bragging.
No big deal. NBD.
Call him the Braggarilla.
Andrew,
My sister has the 4K version.
Oh, you don't need to brag about your family's wealth, Ben. Jeez. Andrew, have you ever owned one of these micro consoles?
No. I was actually just talking to my roommate before this saying I feel like they're kind of a waste of money. In some instances, I feel like they're kind of a waste of money.
Hey, you're not going to
I
offend
prefer streaming
but
on the Apple TV
but
to
like
streaming on
for like a family, if you had like a kid or something or a couple of kids and they were really little, you could totally get them one of those little micro consoles and they'd have a blast like playing those old school platformers and things. And those are the fundamentals of video games.
That's true. And I mean, I think that, so Ben, you mentioned that you prefer streaming on the Apple TV. Streaming on the Apple TV is just so above and beyond so much better on Apple TV than it is on Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah,
It's
PlayStation is terrible.
the
Not to
user
mention the fact that I have to fucking turn DCP-H shit on and off all the HDCP, whatever the fuck it is. I have to turn that shit on and off all the time too. Fucking annoying.
But So I agree with you. The user experience on Apple TV, as far as streaming goes, is infinitely better on, but than it is on like Xbox or PlayStation. And that's what I use. I own 2 Apple TVs, so step up then. But
Do you have a 4K?
No.
I don't either. But
I
my
love that
sister
little
does. My cousin totally takes Taekwondo, and he could beat up your brother.
God damn it.
Your brother.
But no, so the one that I'm actually really disappointed with, because the one that I want to like be the most micro console is the PS TV, because God, that thing sucked. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, it probably would have been better if more than 4 people besides you had bought one.
Yeah.
But PlayStation
Being a minority is a terrible
kinda just
thing,
like,
isn't it?
fuck, we only sold 5 of these, so.
But even like they released it and they basically like shot it in the head and then pushed it out to market, and they're like, here you go.
Yeah.
It was supposed to play PlayStation Vita games, and even if all it played was PlayStation Vita games, that's still worth buying. Like, you could find them in bargain bins for $20, and you could
throw one up there.
But
like-
did it actually play Vita games well? It's like I play some FIFA on it. But the problem with that is that you can't play two people on it.
No, you can.
No, because unless it was a different Vita FIFA is one player unless you're playing on two consoles.
You're right. So the biggest problem with the Vita TV was that it just didn't have it didn't have the touch screen and it didn't have the back touchpad, and there were so many things that the PlayStation Vita had that games used. Can
it use DualShock 3s?
It can also use DualShock 4s. So it used 3s and 4s.
But it didn't utilize the touch screen or the touchpad on
Nope. And they could have. They totally could have. But it pisses me off, but whatever. But
pisses me off too, Pat.
Thank you. I'm glad that you feel frustrated.
I'm here with you.
This.
But at least it's not as bad as fucking Kinect being terrible twice.
No, it's worse than that.
Double terrible.
You think it's worse than Kinect being really terrible twice?
Yeah, the Vita TV was such an incredible opportunity. Had it really kicked ass at streaming the way the Apple TV does, and then been able to download PS1 games, PSP games, and PS Vita games, and had it been able to play PS Vita games competently, that would have been a killer box. Like there was an uptick on PSTV sales to the point that like the prices went up on the remaining stock that stores had, because stores still have them and it's not even in production anymore, and stores still have them, and like the prices went up when the PlayStation 1 Classic was announced, because people saw it and they were like, wow, that sucks. I'm just going to buy this PSTV and download the games that I want. And there it is. There they have their own PlayStation Classic.
Fair enough.
Crazy stuff.
It would have been great.
Yeah, but it wasn't. We don't live in that timeline.
Oh, Andrew, you're breaking my heart every time you say it. You're just rubbing salt in the wound.
We don't live in that timeline.
Well, that's why Apple TV was so smart, or Apple was so smart by putting a touchpad in their remote.
I don't think that makes Apple smart. I think Apple's remote sucks.
I like that remote, although it's lost, so I can never use it again. They lost it when I went to Europe for 2.5 months. Which doesn't make sense because they don't fucking use the Apple TV. I'm the only one who uses the Apple TV, so I don't know how my fucking roommates managed to lose my fucking Apple TV remote, but they did.
Sounds like you got some beef to pick.
Like, motherfuckers.
But the PSTV was also like, it should have been able to do remote play with the PS4, but it didn't. You suddenly could have had your PS4 in another room.
But it just was terrible.
Yeah.
Just like the remote play on the Vita was.
The Vita was just such a duh.
You know where the remote play actually worked well? On a laptop with a PlayStation controller plugged into the laptop.
You're right. That's
I used to do that when I was at work.
I used to do that when I was in school. Like,
interesting.
In college, awesome. Between classes.
I bet it still works well.
I guarantee.
Andrew's like, I wonder if I can download that at work.
Yeah. I remember the day when I jailbroke my old PSP. Oh man, what a day! PSP. You just do whatever you wanted with that thing.
God, PSP was so badass.
But I mean, with all these people who are jailbreaking the switches, sounds like they can do whatever the hell they want with those switches that they're jailbreaking. Because like the friggin' file leaked of Smash Bros, and so people are playing Smash Bros early.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. You guys didn't read about that?
I did not hear about that.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah, people with jailbroken switches are already playing Smash Bros.
Wow.
Damn,
Nintendo is not
how does one acquire?
Nintendo is not happy about that.
How does one go about breaking their jail or their switch out of jail?
How does one break a jail? Well, Andrew, you need a wrecking ball, but You can rent that by
What are
the
the
hour.
what are the processes required to break this switch out of jail?
But the PSTV, despite how much I rant about it, wasn't the only micro console. The Ouya also sucked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever even heard of it.
It was crowdfunded, and people had a lot of. I don't know what you're doing, Andrew, but why do you have a yardstick?
With a
I
yardstick.
was just Booyah dance. This is the only like Booyah-esque thing I have.
Why do you have a
Booyah.
metal yardstick?
Booyah, not Booyah.
Booyah. Our
Because
listeners can't.
he's a
Our
graphic
readers
designer.
All
can't see.
right. But
He
the
needs to be able to draw
Ouya,
straight lines.
the Ouya was crowdfunded. People were really psyched on it, and then it came out, and it really sucks. I mean, the NVIDIA Shield TV, I guess, is still around, and that's okay.
Apple TV's still around, and it streams moot
Yeah, they
stuff
seem to do pretty well.
But is the Apple TV Apple? I've heard that they're doing all right.
I think they still exist.
But does anyone still play Apple TV games? Because I think that's something that happened briefly, but then I think it's kind of fun.
That was a
We
brief
played.
dream that we all had in the
We
Matrix.
played fucking what's that game called? It's like Space Control or whatever, where like you're playing with like a bunch of people in the same room and you have to fucking like yell controls to each other, but everybody's like basically having to yell over each other. It's a hilarious game. We used to play that on the Apple TV.
All right, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and it's actually like party games. It's pretty solid at. That's probably it's strong.
Sort of like the what was the iToy? Was that the thing?
Oh god, on the PS2.
PlayStation? Yeah, on the PS2. Oh man,
Never heard of that.
that had pretty fun party games, but it was a very terrible like game thing.
Did you guys ever play 1 versus 100?
No.
No, but don't you and Joe play that?
No, that was
And you guys team up as 2 versus 100?
no. We teamed up. We would play HQ for a while together. Man, that game sucks. God, I'm just pissed now.
I need to play some Divinity.
Yeah. Ben, you reminded me of remote play on Mac and PC. I'm totally gonna set up remote play on my laptop so that like when I go to Colorado and I'm in my parents' house, I'll just like work at my laptop and then I'll just be like, all right, I'm done with work, and then I'll just pull out a controller and they'll be like, why did you even come? And I'll be like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I was just telling my coworker today. I'm like, you just got to do your family duties.
Yeah, exactly.
Familial.
Got to go stand by your family.
But yeah,
Stand
the micro
by
console
your
thing.
Stand by your family.
It was a pretty bad fad.
Oh,
The PSTV could have been great. I'm still mad about that. Really, I just wanted to talk about these because, Andrew, I'm digging this. No, really, I just wanted to talk about these because I wanted to rant about the PSTV because I still have it in my basket.
You and 4 other people.
Me and 4 other people. They sold. Let's see. Let's see if we can get some sales numbers before we move on.
I already told you
on.
5. 5 total.
5 in total sold of that console. Man, they must have made so much. And
All
so
right.
pissed.
Why don't you guys guess? Let's see.
I'm gonna guess under 100.
It's more than 100.
Under 1 million.
I wouldn't be surprised if
five-
it was. I would not
under
be surprised if
500.
it was under 1 million.
Under 500,000.
All right, you guys riff about something. I'm going to find this out. And
Andrew.
Jillian has been watching a
How
lot
about
of
tuberculosis?
Oh God!
Are you gonna start
Don't
a new?
spoil anything.
Are you gonna start a new fucking file because of the tuberculosis?
Huh?
You gonna start a new file because of the TB?
In Red Dead?
Yeah,
No, I just lived it out.
I've heard a lot of people want to start new files because of the TB because like he just starts to just like be so weak.
he actually says to a character, spoiler alert, everybody. He says to somebody at one like mission, to like a nun, he's like, "I got TB from beating a man."
The guy coughing in his face. That's
yeah, from a guy coughing in his face. Who was that? When was that? Was that in the game?
Yeah, it's like Herr Strauss sends you on one of the early fucking shakedown missions, and the guy that it's like a preacher, and you shake down the preacher, and he coughs in your face, and that's how you get TB.
Okay, so I wasn't able to find anything because they
Wait
bundle.
a minute, back up!
I wasn't able to find anything because they bundle all of
does
the.
that change the ending of the game like drastically?
Changes the way.
I don't know.
dies.
I haven't changed the game.
So he can die in one of two
Or I
ways.
haven't finished the game, but
The way the game ended for me seems like it would have ended differently if he wasn't dying of tuberculosis.
Either Micah kills him or tuberculosis kills him.
But I know for a fact from things online that you can go to a point where on top of like a mountain and Micah is dead and you can pick up his revolver. And I don't know when that is. Yeah.
Okay. We're getting back to things. We're getting back. I'm pulling you guys back in. They roll the PS Vita TV sales into the PS Vita sales to try and make the PS Vita sales look better, but the PS Vita still sold like shit. Regardless, micro consoles, they were a bad fad. Hopefully the Xbox One can break that streak. I want to know what you guys are going to be playing this week. Ben, tell me what you're going to be playing.
probably more Red Dead. Maybe a little Overwatch.
Are you playing online or just the game?
No, I have not started online yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, if like I got on and I saw like a bunch of you guys were all online, I'd maybe. Well, but at that point, like I'm tempted to just go on and start my character and get through the like demo shit, so that then I can just jump in if people are online. But yeah, I have not started the online yet. But so I'll probably get my character set up in that so that I can do that.
Yeah, get a guy like made. Yeah, I got to do that too.
Because like I probably will spend.
Boring so far.
I will spend. I probably will spend a fair amount of time with the character creator, and that's like I've read and heard from our friends that it's a little boring right now, but I'm also remembering back to GTA Online right away, and it was not super exciting.
Yeah,
like I mean,
but GTA Online turned into something.
Well, and that's the other thing is that like I mean, it's just like Nathan was saying, you have to make your own fun. Sort of, and that's like so. Yeah, like if you just go somewhere and start
like people need to make a Cowboys and Indians style thing, like raid a fucking village of like people and like try to defend the village as Indians. You know,
well, and that's I'm just saying, like even if you just start going and fucking with other characters in online play, that will be entertaining. Like, that was a lot of the fun shit that we did early on. With
GTA?
It's still online.
It's just shooting each other.
Then, like when people hacked that shit and figured out how to gift money, that was really one of the things that made that so fucking fun for early on. But
yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen in this game.
that game was very exciting down the road. 6 months down the line, I'm excited to see where Red Dead Online is in 6 months. I'm excited to see where it is in a year. Right now, I'm not super interested in it. Andrew, what are you going to be playing?
Divinity.
All right.
We'll be playing more Divinity. Yep.
And I'm going to play some Golf Story, and I think I'm going to start some Spyro too. So, see how that goes.
No, I should get back to Spyro.
I might play some more Red Dead. I don't know. I picked it up, and it's like, it's good. It's, I don't know. I might go back to it. I don't know. Also going to play some Battlefront 2, so that's going to be cool.
And we're going to watch fucking Gotti.
Got it.
Well, that's all we've got for you guys tonight. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and tell your friends. We will be back next week on No Refunds discussing Gotti, the John Travolta movie directed by E from Entourage.
Dude, I was thinking about it today, and the only way it could be better is if it was directed by fucking Turtle.
Oh, God. Okay. We'll be watching Gotti. We'll be discussing Gotti on No Refunds next week. We're also going to be back next week on Hard Reset. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards and our picks for the Game Awards. So tune in on Wednesday night because the Game Awards is next Thursday night.
Remember to stay hard.
That's right. Stay hard. Reset.
Reset!
Stay hard. Reset and stay hard. Reset and stay hard. Oh my God, you guys. It says the December free games for the PlayStation Plus are Soma and Onrush. That's awesome.
I thought I was gonna say that I thought that they leaked again, and I was like, "Fuck, this is terrible." But it's only a couple. It's like 2 days.
Yeah. Well, Soma's made by the same people who made Amnesia, The Dark Descent. So I want to play that.
Don't know either of them.
That game makes me